Tommy Calvert, please place your name and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you very much to you and your staff and your fellow senators for joining us here. We welcome you to Bexar County. Again, I'm sure it's not your first time. My name is Tommy Calvert. I'm a Bexar County Commissioner. I'm a Democrat, and I'm here to help you lower taxes. I thought I'd get a chuckle.
Let's give this man a hand so far, okay? That's right.
My precinct represents every type of landscape in Texas. I have 500,000 constituents that stretch from the rural farms of East Central to the energy companies and workers located primarily in my precinct in the southeast area of San Antonio. I represent the Alamo and downtown, the Pearl and King William, a wealthy neighborhood home to Charles Butt, the largest employer in Texas. I go west to 10 and Hildebrand, where you can get a great burger at Chris Madrid's, and I represent multiple military installations like Fort Sam Randolph Air Force Base, 13 small towns along IH-35 all the way to the county line as if you're going to Austin. I share some of that territory with Speaker Strauss and Senator Campbell. Because my precinct is a microcosm of the state, I understand why Lieutenant Governor Patrick and this task force are seeking tax relief. Homeowners, primarily in wealthier areas, but also gentrifying areas of strong economic growth, are complaining that appraisals are soaring and with it come tax increases. That's your base politically and you want to deliver for them. I get it. I've heard those concerns too. But the formulas for how the appraisal district and the tax assessor collector's office operate come largely from you and the state. In my own research as someone with a rare set of skills that many politicians don't have, which is an economics background, international relations background, 2 businesses, I believe a California, Kansas, Russia heavy-handed state and referendum control method of automatic tax rollbacks is not the way to go. Those economies are not the envy of the world, and so too will it be for Texas if we head down that raggedy road. If we follow that road, then the Republican-led Texas legislature is putting an axe on the problem that has 21st century solutions and could use a scalpel, or even better, a precision procedure that I'd like to talk about today. My solution is conservative in both scope and in providing local control. I would propose that we work on legislative action and a state constitutional amendment that would provide local taxing jurisdictions with the power to carve out special taxing districts where they see hyperinflation of values of properties and index the property tax bill to inflation, which is, as you know, typically between 1% and 4%, rather than be forced by the push of the appraisals on taxes and the shock that comes with a tax bill when your paycheck didn't get the similar jolt. I hear my buzzer, so I'll stop there, but we can explore more if you like.
No, let me make sure I understand your proposal first. You want a constitutional amendment to set up special taxing jurisdictions on top of existing jurisdictions?
I couldn't hear that.
On top of existing jurisdictions, and then they would index the rate to inflation? I'm trying to understand how it works.
No, you would give the power to existing taxing entities. Because of fair and equal taxation, my proposal, as our lawyers understand it, would require a state constitutional amendment to provide local taxing entities the ability to carve out those neighborhoods, literally, or properties where they see hyperinflation of values, what they believe to be unfair values, and instead of the net increase that comes with the appraisal increase, the increase per year would be indexed, connected to inflation, so that it's more like a COLA. It keeps it more in line like a COLA in terms of both your property owner hasn't had, and in Bexar County, wages actually went down from 2003, slightly, just slightly. And so it would be more commensurate with, I think, economic forces.
You know, Commissioner, you're talking about, I think, like a value cap, but with a limited geography, right?
Correct.
Limited call. But no, I'd be happy to see what your lawyers have brought up. But you did bring up another point. In this case, why not just lower the tax rate?
We have. We've lowered the tax rate, and you know, as I said before, when it comes to the appraisals, that's where the issue comes in, and we don't have control over that.
Well, let me just make sure, were you here for the earlier testimony?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you saw the figures from the tax assessor, who's just reporting the obvious, that there was a increase alone of 12% this year, 392 million from 350 million, so that's a 12% increase in total revenue in 1 year. Also, we've looked at Bexar County specifically, that there was a 30% increase for 3 years in total revenue. So this hadn't just been a one-year trend, it's a multi-year trend.
We've actually, I have a chart here I can present for the record with my full comment of facts. We actually are the fourth lowest taxing entity of the top 25, and we've lowered taxes quite a few times. I'll get the exact number since 1995.
Mr. Calvert,
Yeah.
it's great. I'd love to see that, and
Yeah.
I also want to see your proposal. But let me take
Sure.
the point head on that I'm trying to make, and you just said it. We've lowered taxes. Well, no, you haven't. If you have a tax increase, you can measure it, because as the value goes up and the tax rate stays mostly the same, you said slightly down.
Yes, Senator, with all due respect, I've heard that argument all morning, and I think the frustration for us as local leaders who have the very tough job of governing our dollars is that, as Mr. Amesquita said, the problem is in the ad valorem connection to the fair and equal taxation. Until you do something that's beyond my scope and my power, until something is done about that at a statewide level, we're not able to manage the growth of our communities.
Okay, Mr. Calvert,
and our
Mr. Commissioner,
taxes.
I want to make sure I understand this. You're saying, public testimony, that 30% increase in county revenues in 3 years is not enough. That's what you're saying.
Well, I think that when I walk on doorsteps and I listen to people talk to me about the streets and infrastructure, the flooding that happens in Bexar County, they still want us to invest more, which we've done. I mean, we've invested $500 million from 2007 to 2017, and they have continued. You have members of this court who have been elected, some for 3 decades, because the taxpayers believe they've been good stewards of tax dollars. So, you know, that is a question. We will take the heat from the voters if they feel that we're not managing it. Although I will say, as I started, Bexar County is ranked as a top managed county in all of Texas.
Well, we certainly wouldn't argue with the tourism, component, knowing the state would. Now, let me make sure we talk about this. Your revenue comes from taxpayers paying tax bills. Clearly, there's been a 30% increase in 3 years in Bexar County revenues. Now, that means that we're on a path to double the size of San Antonio. Let's just respond a second. Double the size of government in just 7 years, and you're almost halfway through it. Now, you've got a lot of worthy projects, and I understand all that. Your taxpayers, by any measurement that we've seen today, their personal income, their median income, whatever yardstick you want to use, your tax bills are going up 2.5 to 3 times faster than their own income. So what's the solution? Okay, because I think the solution is, as values go up that fast, there's no reason not to cut the tax rate. I submit to you, if you're as well-run county as you say
They
you
make
are,
me buy my own bottled water. We're very cheap.
No, yeah, that's right. That you are. Could you do it at 20% over 3 years? Pick a number, because you have the ability. And by the way, we knew we were in precinct 4 because we saw one of the buses on the way in.
Well, you're not in it now. But
Oh, not
this
in now.
is
Okay,
either 2 or 3.
but it's a serious question. Serious question, because the folks are not having their incomes go up by 10%, but yet yours are.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of factors. We want to thank the senators and the governor and, of course, our local leadership for being so strong in terms of economic development. Because Texas is a desirable place to move, we've had population increases which have caused our revenue, because I think that was the supposition of your question was, you've seen our revenue go up. Yes, our revenue's gone up because our population's gone up, because we have stimulated economic stimulus. We created 34,000 jobs through the infrastructure that we invested in roads and flood control. So we're a desirable place to live, and we cannot have our hands tied in terms of making those investments and creating good-paying construction jobs for our people.
Well, I appreciate the testimony and it articulately placed, and want to leave you with just the comment that take a look at what is real, the taxation load differential. Your tax assessor has the data. You'll be surprised at the difference in the curves between what median income is happening in all of Texas, not just Bexar County. And because Bexar County's increase is not by far the most of any county that we've surveyed, but it is a tax increase. Yeah. Anytime the public pays 10% or more per year on average, that's a tax increase, no matter which way you
That's why I also don't believe that an across-the-board axe to this problem is the right solution. I believe that we can go in with a laser precision and identify those areas, and you give your local elected officials the right to take the heat. They're accountable to their voters to carve out those areas, because it's not happening in every neighborhood, but it is happening in neighborhoods. And that's why my proposal is a happy medium between your proposal, which is an across-the-board axe.
Well, we have no proposal yet. That's why we're out in the field trying to get good, I should say, good ideas. Yours certainly has the luxury of never been tried before,
that's
so
right.
That's why I want to see it.
It's new, it's innovative.
But I do appreciate you coming and taking the heat by coming out and talking about this. So I appreciate that. And by the way, all the bills we passed up here, you made a comment about the Democrats versus the Republican legislature. Every one of these bills we've talked about today passed with bipartisan, nearly unanimous votes. None of the bills that we talked about today didn't have at least several members of the minority party, if not an overwhelming bill. And that's really what we're trying to do.
Sure.
We're trying to get consensus.
That's why I'm here.
And that's why the Lieutenant Governor passed. It wasn't for the base that you mentioned earlier. It's for everybody.
Sure.
Because as Ms. Ennis knows, there's two factors in the universe, death and taxes, and everybody's going to pay them.
Yeah, and Senator, I would just say respectfully, I had a former commissioner go off about the fact that, when he was on Commissioner's Court, he had lowered taxes 4 times. And I turned to the audience and I said, did you feel it? The answer was no.
No, not with those type of appraised value
That's
increase
right.
over the last 3 years.
And
right.
so my proposal is a much more direct
No,
connection than I think
like I said, it's
what's been done in the past.
very unusual. No one's proposed it to this point. So thank you for your time.